You got to make sure you slow down and you start walking in discernment before you get your butt into something you shouldn't have anything to do with. This is going to be more of like a family talk that I'm having with you. I just finished a podcast episode about walking in alignment. Now I want to talk about the importance of walking in discernment. It's so important. You have to slow your butt down. Everything that may seem good, it's not always good, baby. You got to slow down a little bit and walk in discernment. There are some situations, that's presented itself in my life, and I won't go through detail about some things. I'll just talk quickly about one or two. But one unique situation where someone bought something to me to do, and without going into much detail, it wasn't, at the surface, it seemed fine, right? And then the more this person began to talk about the situation, the more I began to see, well, wait a minute, that's not quite right to do it that way. But be careful when someone comes at you with something really rushed and they want a decision from you right away on something. That's a sure sign right there, right? And the more I dug into it and I looked into it a little bit more, I thought, well, no, that's not something that I would be involved in doing at all, right? And it was almost presented as though, well, it's just a little lie, and the person didn't say it like that. Just to be clear, I'm putting it in my own language. But basically it was like, everybody does it. It's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And on the outside looking in, maybe you'll look at that situation and think, well, Z, that's not so bad, but I do get your point. It's something that probably shouldn't be done, but everybody kind of does it. You get my point? And I began to, and I asked God to give me a spirit of discernment. And then when I began to take a step back from it, I began to see, oh, this is a doorway that the enemy is trying to open. I can't give the enemy a footstool or a doorway into my life, no matter how small that crack is. I'm not going to let my prayers be hindered. The devil is a lie, right? I'm not going to sit here and compromise on something that most people would say is pretty minor. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not doing it, right? And I had a little pushback on that. I won't go into detail with, who were the people involved, but there was a little bit of pushback like, okay, really, this is not that big of a deal. It's a big of a deal for me when I walk in honesty and integrity before God. I answer to God. You have to be careful and walk in discernment. And that doesn't mean that whoever may bring something to you don't have bad intentions. I want to be clear on that. But people have different levels of what they're willing to accept and allow into their lives. So you may have some people that look at you like, why are you trying to be so holy? You get my point? This is not a big deal to tell a little lie about this or to say whatever. When you don't realize it could be the spirit operating behind that person or people, right? To try to get you to open that little crack, that little door, right? And then it becomes a bigger crack and a bigger crack. And now you're sitting here trying to pray and you're wondering why your prayers are not even being heard. Because you don't get your butt out of alignment. I'm speaking with love when I say your butt. But you got out of alignment and you're off doing something that you shouldn't even be doing. The devil is a lie, no matter how small it may seem. There's a passage in 1 Corinthians you all should read. And maybe this is just meant for one or two people to hear, because some of you guys are probably thinking like, well, I don't deal with that. I don't whatever. Well, just be alert. Just be aware. So there's a passage in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23, and I really like this passage. It says, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible, but not everything is constructive. So it may be okay to do, or you can do it, but is that beneficial for you spiritually? Is that going to in any way throw you out of alignment? This is why we have to pray for a spirit of discernment. I said this before and I'll say it a million times. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a licensed minister. I'm no one's, prophetess and all of that. This is just doing your best to walk before God with honesty, with integrity, and allowing yourself to be a vessel that he can use. And baby, the enemy can come at you in so many ways to try to pick away at that. Have people come into your life or say things or do things and present opportunities. That's another thing I want to talk about. You need to be very careful before you jump into any opportunities presented to you. I don't care how good someone looks. I don't care how wonderful they may sound. I don't care how great the opportunity may seem. Let me peel back the curtains just a little bit, because this is just a family talk I'm having with you all. You all are not aware of the amount of people that approach me. Maybe not on a daily basis, I don't want to exaggerate, but definitely on a weekly basis. The amount of people, and in many cases, companies that approach me that wants me to advertise or market their products, or to create a TikTok or a YouTube or something on their products or what have you. You get my point? You have no idea what's been turned down. In fact, 99.5% of every single opportunity, I've turned it down because of what I stand for. And what I mean by that is some companies and products and services have products and things that don't have the best reputation at all in terms of how they treat their customers, right? The way they go about doing things. Some of them seem a little shady. You get my point? But you wouldn't believe the amount of money that they present. You know, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, or name your price. You get my point? You get my point? So if you're not walking with the spirit of discernment, and first of all, if you're not doing what you're doing for the right reasons, baby, you will be swayed in so many directions. And it's not like we can't use the money. Let me just be clear. Let me just be clear on that. It takes money, resources to be able to do the things that I'm doing. I have to pay people and get help to do a lot of this stuff that we're doing. When you have a podcast that's streaming worldwide, when you're leading programs and you're providing the kind of coaching and mentoring, that I do as well. It takes money, takes time, takes resources, right? And that's when the enemy loves to just, come and tap you on the shoulder and offer you an opportunity. You get my point? To be a partner or a sponsor or this or that. You get my point? And I'm not saying all of them are bad. There are many, many, many wonderful companies out there. So even the ones that we've turned down, let me just be clear. It's not that they all are shady of some sort. It's just that right now, the alignment that God has me walking in, that's not the direction he has me going right now. And I do want to say this. Let me just kind of deviate for one moment. For those of you who've asked me to speak at, your church or your Women's Day event or it's been a number of requests that's come in for different things. I do not think that I'm better than anyone else. I just want to be clear in that. And please don't take it personal if I've had to turn down those opportunities. But let me explain to you all. I want to go a little bit further why 99% of those invites I've not been able to take. I have to take some time out of my schedule, my prayer time and everything that I do to even research and get to know who is this organization? What are you about? What do you stand on? How do you treat people? You get my point? Because you begin to be attached to whatever service or whatever offering that you become a part of. And maybe this is meant just for one person to hear, because some of you all are probably thinking, where's she going with this? Some of you may be in positions where you've been asked to partner with people or speak at an event or do whatever. You need to make sure that you walk in discernment and ask God, is this what you want me doing at this time? Even though, you may be able to get paid for it and it may be a great opportunity, and this is what a number of them said, to blow up your platform and to get a whole lot more followers. Well, I'm not in this to get a whole lot more followers, right? I'm grateful they come. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not in it for that. Like, what can I do to get some more people to listen or to subscribe? If you subscribe, you subscribe. If you don't, you don't. I believe that those who are called to listen and want to get the guidance, God will just call you. You get my point? Does that make sense? Because this may be just for one person that's listening in. You better be careful with events that you choose to speak at, things you choose to do, people you choose to team up with. That does not mean they're bad people. I want to be clear on that. But you better walk in the spirit of discernment. First, go to God in prayer. Is this what you want me doing? Right? Find out about people and what they're about, right? Before you go linking up and partnering up with different people and different things. You have to walk in a spirit of discernment. Everything is permissible, baby, but not everything is beneficial. And it's during those times, especially when it comes to finances, right? That could be the time when you're most tempted to take any and every opportunity that comes your way, right? It's during those times where you really have to go to God and get a spirit of discernment, ask for a spirit of discernment and say, God, direct me, show me what it is I should do. I've had some amazing brands, by God's grace, that's approached me. And when I look a little further into some of those brands, right, and I look up some of their reviews and I look at what they're doing, I'm like, it just doesn't align. There's just some things a little off with this. And then you got all that money that's thrown in your face. If you would just be our, what do they call it, our ambassador. You get my point? Again, I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, right? And I'm not saying we can't use the funds. Please understand that. But you have to walk in a spirit of discernment, not fear, just to be clear, but a spirit of discernment with every single thing that you do, personal life as well as your professional development. You better be wise and walk in wisdom. And sometimes, I'll wrap this up by saying this, sometimes you won't even understand clearly why God is not letting you move forth with that partnership or with that whatever. Sometimes the answer is just no, or the answer is just not right now. That's what God tells me in many cases, not right now. Not ready to put you up on that stage right now. Still developing you. Nope, not ready for you to do that right now. I've got something else better in mind. Okay, but God, that sponsorship money would really help. Not ready for you to do that right now. I need you to speak the words that I'm putting in your heart to say, and trust I'm going to take care of you financially. Trust I'm going to make sure my word gets out. Trust I'm going to make sure my book, Necessary, this is how I feel like God speaks to me, that I wrote for you, is going to be spread all over the nations. I will send someone to fund the entire spreading of that. I'll send someone. So some of the things that God put in my heart, I'll send someone. Just trust me. So anyway, I kind of deviated a little bit off from my main topic, but this is walking in discernment. Walk in discernment, my brothers and sisters. Before you make a decision to do anything, you ask God to give you great discernment. I love you all. You're listening to Unlocking Greatness Podcast with Zenja Glass.